Listen, please leave me alone. I will kill you momentarily. You don't need to die right now. Good evening, cupcakes. It is a beautiful afternoon here in Grana, in the Kingdom of Kamasylvia, also known as the Sea of Trees. And, well, we just arrived, and let's see what we gotta do. Welcome to Kamasylvia. As the messenger of Queen Berlina, I come to assist the delegation. This land is our land, the Ganelles land. We Ganelles were born at the sacred tree, Kamasylv, with the power of the sun and spirits. Pretty sure the Ganelles are basically just elves. This majestic land of ours is protected by the archers, who defend our capital, and the rangers. Wait, the archers or the archers? It's difficult to tell whether or not that's a title or whether that's a typo. Anyway, and the rangers, who guard the country's border. Together, we protect this land from the rebellious Ahibs, who have greatly sinned against our mother when they burned our mother's legacy, Kamasylv, and then fled. A delegate like yourself should learn our history before you try to better the relationship between this land and the one you are representing. You should introduce yourself to the representatives of the archers and the rangers, who are also aides to the queen. So I wanted to point out something. You may notice that we have a fifth pet all of a sudden. Hey, look at that. It's Bartoli's Buster. Now, I looked high and low for him. I looked in every single storage slot. I looked on every mount. What I did not do, though, however, was check this right here. Apparently, my storage in some place had filled up, and instead of just redeeming Bartoli's Buster for a free pet, I sent it to Glish, and I never actually accepted it. But in between last episode and this, I realized what a very stupid thing I had done, and I went over with one of my other characters to Glish, and yeah, now we have Gunny. Bartoli's Buster. Okay, so we gotta go speak to the leaders of the archers and the rangers. I don't know. Are you also praying that nobody in the world will be in agony anymore? No. Welcome to Grana, the capital of Kamasylvia. I'm Helene Sana of the Rangers. I'm Hazel Azalea of the Archers. We deeply appreciate you for answering our Queen's call. That's not right. And honoring the Pact of the Dawn. We do ask that you conduct yourself appropriately while you are here.
There shouldn't be anyone who gets tortured.
There's no justice in killing. The frick kind of ranger are you? Haha. As always, we will help each other, and also maintain good relationship with Calthipion. Kamasylvia is vast, and there may be many things that may be difficult for you to understand. Like how in the world you are tasked with defending the border. But if you ever need my aid, you can come and see me any time. Well then, I'll introduce you to Queen Berlina. Go further this way. Her Majesty will be waiting for you. Is be waiting for you. Okay. Once again, you know, translation errors. Beware of the darkness hidden in the light.
We don't have a right to judge what we don't understand.
May your wisdom and your will bring blessing upon all walking these lands. I am most pleased to witness the fulfillment of our pact with Calthion, which was made so long ago. I thank you, Lady Seikakaku, for taking the trouble to come all this way as a delegate. We do not have much time, so let's discuss why I have asked for help. Why I have asked for military support from the great military power that is the Republic of Calthion.
Our will and your wisdom will bless everything.
Kamasylvia is a beautiful land of harmony between the spirits and Kamasylv, the legacy of our mother Sylvia. Once this land was home to the Ganelles and Vidirs, who were born by the power of the sun and the moon. That is, until the day when the dark spirits from the east came en masse. The incident made us, sisters born from the same womb, turn against each other forever. And I guess the Vidirs are the dark elves. What exactly happened after the dark spirits appeared? Our land became a living hell, where all the grasslands and forests withered and died. But we had too little power to stop the evil invasion. So it had come to a point where Josiah Odore, the chief of the Vidir at the time, had to burn Kamasylvia. Thanks to the power we gained, the dark spirits were barely defeated. But the true tragedy of Ganelles and Vidirs just began at that time.
We don't have a right to judge what we don't understand.
Is it because she burned Kamasylv, the legacy of the mother? No, it was an inevitable choice made to stop the dark spirits. But the problem was, some of the Vidirs who lost control afterwards. Some Vidirs, intoxicated by the fact that Kamasylvia was saved by them, began to absorb even more strength, burning the remaining Kamasylv in the forests. 'Twas a crucial time where we had to do whatever it takes to revive our mother's legacy, but there was nothing more important for them than gaining more power. Soon, the spirits who'd been sustaining Kamasylvia as a whole turned their backs on all sisters, and the civil war broke out between the sisters, the Ganel and the Vidir.
Can you feel the dark shadows
Since you call this
far distant?
the land of the Ganels, I suppose you won the war? Winning a war against our own sisters. 'Tis such a sad truth. Yes, we drove them out to arid land. But during that time, countless spirits were sacrificed, and Kamasylv, after losing so many branches to their greed, has lost its light. It seems to be pretty bright to me. To make matters worse, ever since they fled to arid land, their flames of darkness grew larger and larger. They are the ones now called the Ahib, the death of the moon. We'd like to ask for protection of Calphion from the Ahib's threat. We draw power from Kamasylv, but Kamasylv has lost its light. After we realized that it is only a matter of time before we start to weaken, we eventually decided to ask our ally and great military power, that is the Republic of Calphion, for military support until Kamasylv regains its light. If you take a look around Grana and the force of Kamasylvia, I am sure you can see what a dire situation this beautiful place is in.
If we fight to protect our happiness, it will inspire us.
This once impregnable land is falling apart. It was not an easy decision to reveal our weakness and ask for help. Please disregard Hazel's unwelcoming attitude. Archers are generally not welcoming to outsiders, even if we cannot afford to act like that right now. We already lost half of the Ranger forces at our border with the arid land, yet we are still having conflicts with the Ahibs. Probably because the leader of your Rangers thinks that there's no justification for killing anyone ever. That might be why. Maybe you want to talk to her about, we're kind of in a war right now, so we kind of need to kill the enemies. If we kill the enemies, they don't win. That's not how that works. Speaking of Rangers, why don't you go back and talk to Helene Sana, the representative of the Rangers?
We don't have a right to judge what we don't understand. There's no justification.
People in Grana are nice, but might act somewhat standoffish towards you as an outsider. This is not a place where outsiders can come and go freely. Yes, we have opened up our borders, but you cannot get past the Lemuria guards without passing inspection. Lemuria guards? They're the Ranger military forces guarding the border. If you had crossed the border by land to come here, you would have met them already. Perhaps you might have a chance to go there someday.
We learned light reflected on the lake.
There have been a few incidents recently that have forced us to be even more guarded than usual. The more we lose power, the bolder our enemies have become. But I believe we can get through this crisis, together. I'd like to introduce you to our local storage keeper and blacksmith. Getting to know them will be useful for when you're staying here. One is Papu, and the other is Phaedus. You will rarely get to meet their kind outside of Kamasylvia. Well, how about you meet Papu first? Go look for Vipiko, the Papu storage keeper. Or meet the Papu, okay. Papus are cute fellows who tend to end their sentences with the sound pa or poo, like most papus. Oh, yeah.
There shouldn't be anyone who gets tortured in Kamasylvia.
I've actually already met the storage keeper. That was part of the whole thing where I was learning. So yeah,
Are you here to pick your item?
they look kind of like the ferret people, but they're not. I think they're actually... There's a barterer over in Velia. You go to the docks, and you'll actually see one of these kind of things. Oh wait, no, we gotta actually chat her up.
Absolute perfection of hard working.
We Papu welcome all friends of the Ganelles. Please find me anytime, even if you don't have anything to check in. Boo. Like, even when you're depressed or feeling blue. I hear people feel good when they're with a Papu. Boo. By the way, even the Papus welcome all those who are friends with the Ganelles. Kamasylvia's forest can be not so welcoming. Boo. So, you need to know how to take care of yourself. Speaking of which, why don't you go meet Dixippo, the blacksmith fellow? Boo boo. Alright, and here's the blacksmith. My original name isn't Dixippo. It is a lot longer, but somehow it ended up being shortened to Dixippo. That's what the priestesses here like to do. Not that it's bad. I kinda like it. If trade with Calphion begins in earnest, I think lapis lazuli will be the first to be traded. Lapis lazuli preserves the energy of the verdure forest and is rare. It is used for crafting, for example, for crafting forest path wagons. You could say the sound of fattest craftsmen hammering away with their lapis lazuli is a quintessential sound of Kamasylvia.
Training is needed for everything. I can say I am also training.
I think what truly represents Kamasylvia are our beautiful songs. The outside world has never heard anything like it. I'm talking about the songs of the spirits, though they are mostly forgotten now. How would you like to meet the Maestra Blue Arnott, the musician of the forest and city, and listen to her songs?
You know what? Dixie Poe is the name I received here.
Gotta make an entrance. She is singing a mystical melody. I heard about you from Her Majesty. She wants me to tell you everything about our history and how it has left our nation with a bloody wound. I'm actually trying to revive the mostly forgotten songs of the spirits. Songs can be more than just about beauty. There's a reason these songs have been forgotten. The song I am currently playing is a tribute to Polly the Spirit. Would you like to hear me sing it? In fact, it was once forbidden to sing this song by someone. On scorched Kamasyl flower Polly's mushrooms grew. Polly sings and dances on mother's fingers slow. Or grow. Not grow. Slow. Scorched Kamasyl flower. Doesn't this song give you the creeps? Polly was one of the many spirits who perished in the conflict between the Ganelles and the Vidias after the invasion of the Dark Spirits. Polly was said to have died by the hands of Queen Amelia. Yes, the former queen of Kamasylvia. However, I heard that an investigation has been opened to look into Polly's death. I suggest that you go talk to Momeles, the librarian of the Great Library of Grana. If a delegate like yourself learns more about Kamasylvia, I'm sure it will be of greater help for both our countries' friendship.
This is the Grana Library.
Pursuit of truth is always right. We, the people of Kamasylvia, respect such pursuits. I like this lady. I heard that you are trying to learn more about Grana. I've selected some books that will help you understand the city better.
Seeking truth is always right, and Kamasylvia...
You could say that history of Kamasylvia is also an account of the lives of the spirits. Spirits used to be the center of life here in Kamasylvia. Sadly, when the dark spirits came, so came ruination. Coincidentally, this happened around the same time that Calphion was hit by the gruesome Black Death. After long study, our priestesses concluded that the dark spirits were some kind of embodiment of Black Death. It's unclear what the catalyst for this tragedy was exactly, but we suspect the culprit might be one of the forces flowing among Kamasylvia.
This is the Grono Library, where sacred knowledge exists.
Okay.
Books and education, but that's
I'm sure you've heard about the song that Maester Blue Anat is trying to revive, the tragedy of the Poly Spirit, who died at the hands of Amelia Ornette. The spirit that once blessed the birth of the Ganelles and Vidir has been killed by the hands of the child he blessed. It's dreadful. The former queen, Amelia Ornette, focused only on the battle against the Vidirs after the sacred tree was burned. Many spirits despaired and left the forest due to her reign that paid no attention to restoring Kamasyl's light. But Amelia Ornette of the Black Flower can by no means represent all Ganelles. There was a young princess who tried to restore the light of Kamasyl more than anyone. She tried to borrow the power of the ancient spirits by herself. It would be a good idea for you to look around the library for records about that story. The records about Valtara and Okiara, the ancient spirits who now became the gargantuan mountain and the ever-flowing river of Mother Nature.
seeking truth is always right.
Okay.
And Kamasylvia.
Of course, the problem is that most of the people who claim, to value truth above all else, well, they don't really. Eleonian year 235, the endless black calamity that shadowed the once abundant land of the goddess forever separated the sisters. On the day the Dark Knights disappeared from the history of Kamasylvia, the Archer moved against the Ahib. The Archer moved against the Ahib. The Ahib were defeated and they fled to the southeast. 8 years have passed since then. The Ahib are slowly growing stronger. Anyway, so yeah, those that kind of appoint themselves the guardians of truth and just say, well, I am a guardian of truth, so you should trust me without any sort of verification. Just trust me absolutely. And obviously they're not going to say that. Some people say, hey, trust me. Don't necessarily mean that way. But yeah, there are people that will say, will give themselves a title that people are inclined to trust, and that's kind of, those are the ones that you have to be most wary of. Because those are the ones that are most prone to misleading. And misleading interpretations, really. Because that's the thing. It's like it's not that those that appoint themselves as the guardians of truth are knowingly lying. Usually what's happening is that they're just really, really biased people who are very, very arrogant, very, very self-absorbed, and really and truly believe that they speak nothing but the truth, but they don't understand the twist how they twist it in order to suit their pre-existing biases. If you never prove yourself wrong over the course of a year, then you aren't actively working to learn, or else you are too biased to be able to determine truth, and you need to kind of, well, whatever. The spirits Valtara and Okiara were the best of friends. However, those two were very different. Valtara, who loved climbing, became the Valtara Mountains. Okiara, who loved scaling down valleys, became the Okiara River. Okay. So yeah, and that goes back to the whole ideology thing, where, people will do the most horrible things for the sake of an ideology. And they will knowingly lie for an ideology, but if you hold on to an ideology, if that ideology, if it's an ideology that is not the truth, but it says that this ideology has a monopoly on the truth, well, it doesn't. No ideology has a monopoly on the truth. But the idea that that an ideology can cause a person to twist reality. They'll see something, right? They'll see something happen, and they will see it happen completely differently than the way it actually happened. And they will remember it completely differently because of their bias, because of their ideology. So, anyway.
This is the Grona Library.
The desperate steps taken by young Princess Catherine to try and regain Kamasylve's light was futile, and her life was taken by the hands of Queen Berlina's friend. That's how she returned to the Mother's eternal arms.
Books and education are the best legacy to leave descendants.
It's quite a series of tragedies, isn't it? Things just did not go the way we hoped they would. By the way, Her Majesty has a message for you, and demands your presence. Go to the rendezvous at the top of the closest tower to Kamasylve. Ophelia Enel, Her Majesty's messenger, will be there waiting for you with the Queen's message. Okay. I just wish people would cling to ideologies less and value truth more. You know? And that's but the problem is that people think they value truth. They cling to these ideologies because they think this ideology or that has monopoly on the truth. And if something happens, or if evidence comes to light, or if it defies logic, right? Or if, you can logically disprove this thing, then that'll just be that evidence, that logical, that reasoning, all this kind of stuff, it just will not exist to them. They'll hear it, and it'll just be like, it doesn't even matter. And that's unfortunate. And they'll still insist that their ideology has a monopoly on the truth, while they dismiss all sorts of things. And it's good to see you again. How do you find Grana so far? I imagine that all your newfound knowledge might have changed your impressions about this place. Now, I am here to tell you something more about this place. What you're about to learn here is something that only a privileged few people know. The reason the Queen has decided to share this story with you, a delegate from Calphion, is because Calphion too is under a dark shadow. This is a book about the Black Death, an invasion of dark spirits, the events that precipitated so many tragedies in this continent, the advent of the dark spirits' invasion in Kamasylvia, which happened the same time as when the Black Death hit Calphion, was predicted. What you see here was written by Oriana Ornette, the chief of Ganelles at the time of the dark spirits' invasion. The chief had 3 daughters, Princesses Amelia, Berlina, and Catherine. Okay. It's a book you cannot find in the Grana Library. A powerful magic seal is cast upon it. The seal is lifted. Let's read the book. Vuhura Kaheliak. Vuhura Kaheliak. They were the first words he uttered after tearing up the sacred roots of our mother to come up to this world. He spoke a language we didn't understand, and he became blind as soon as he faced the sunlight of our world. His body was rotten and mangled as if it was cursed, and his blood, spilled from being hit by our arrows, was as black as tar. He let out a terrifying laugh as he drew something with his own blood. It almost looked like the black sun. It was certain he was a demon that had to be destroyed at once. We decided to spare his life and expel him out of the woods. We couldn't kill him because the spirits, our oldest friends, were all against the idea. There was a faint yet undeniable trace of the spirit's energy in him. Oh, Mother, how should we interpret your will? After some time, when the dark spirits struck the mountains, forests, and meadows, Josia Odore, the chief of the Vadir, said, well, The scent of the dark spirit is just like the man's blood. We realized then that as the man climbed up to this world, the door to the root realm had opened. Okay, so what's the root realm? The dark spirits smell like the man's blood. Could we have stopped these tragedies from happening if we didn't let the man who painted the black sun live? Since he appeared, we've learned that there is another realm, Adweir, on the other side, beyond Mother's roots. It is the world of the sons of Argotis, those named Luthragons. They answered the call to help us when the dark spirits raided our land. But because their leader was none other than the man who painted the black sun, we drove all of them out of the forest along with the dark spirits. Yet in truth, they were also after the leader turned traitor. You must have heard his name being mentioned at least once. The first Luthragon who crossed the root of our spirit tree. His name was Kafras. I'm sure you know better than anyone the impact Kafras left in this world. What I'm trying to tell you is the war against the Ahibs is not our only concern. If Calphion comes to Grana's aid, they may suffer an unimaginable calamity. Are you certain Calphion is ready for this? Well then, I want you to meet the Merindora, the eldest spirit. It's time you learn about Kamasylvia, the land the spirits turn their backs upon. Something that doesn't sound right. Are you absolutely sure? Is she saying it to make us drop the whole thing? Or is she really worried about us? So far, they have been quite open with us. But I think the Calphionians were right to be worried about how truthful these people will be with us. I also think that the Black Death spreading in Calphion and the dark spirits invading Kamasylvia wasn't a coincidence. They happened at the same time and must have been fueled by some powerful force. A powerful force hidden in this land. What an adventure we are having. The Kafras stone. The black stones that you use to enhance normal weapons and armor. Those are called Kafras stones. So, like for example, hold on. See, Tuvala gear. Let me see. It should say somewhere. The first red line. This item cannot be enhanced with Kafras stones. And so that's why you need to use the time-filled black stones to enhance it, is because it can't be enhanced with Kafras stones. And come to think of it, the black stones first appeared not long after that black plague that ravaged Calphion and Heidel and all the Calphion and Serendia and Keplin and all those. And Balanos. So that's interesting.
Make your move first. Taking action.
Oh, you look worried. Would you like to tell me about it? We have tried many times to revive Kamasyl, but we've come to a point where we need help from Calphion. However, getting help from Calphion cannot solve a fundamental problem. If the light of Kamasyl cannot be restored, the mission of Ganelles to borrow the power of spirits will become an eternal shackle on them, which will forever torture them until they all perish. Many of the saints here are going out to the woods to find various spirits and borrow their strength. But there are limits to this. We spirits are not on anybody's side. We do not side with the Ganelles nor Vidirs. Spirits do not lie. You actually don't even have to look around the whole Kamasylvia to grasp the situation here enough to perform your duties as Calphion's delegate. Go to Polly's forest and forest near the Acher guard post to the north, and you'll hear the truth. Ophelia Enel will direct you there. She is waiting for you at Melaby's stable.
Actually, I'm not a papu.
I've prepared some simple food for you so you don't get hungry on the road. Have you had the privilege of meeting the eldest spirit, Merindora? She looks like a cute papu, but in truth, she isn't a papu. There's a saying that she loved them so much that she turned into a papu, though. The north side of Kamasylvia is the land of the spirits. That's why you need permission from Merendora to enter the area. I mean, really? This is your idea? Okay, whatever. I was gonna go ahead and toss that. Got much better food. Merendora used to be the spirit kindest to us, but when the civil war between the sisters intensified, even she refused to take a side. Even now, she keeps on saying, we spirits are not on anyone's side. We do not side with the Ganelles nor Vidias. Nevertheless, I think she feels betrayed by how the conflict between us Ganelles and the Vidias turned out. Polly's forest is relatively safe, and you won't need my escort. So could you head towards the loony cabin in Polly's forest? Who knows? If the other spirits find out that Calphion might help Kamasylvia, maybe they will become more supportive of our cause. I believe the spirits won't want the Ahibs to win this war either. If Ahibs ever engulf the forest, it means the spirits too will perish. I'm going to leave first and make sure your way beyond Polly's forest is safe too. Loony cabin. Ah.
Doesn't it seem like you have seen me?
You know what? Weenie and I are twins! Weenie was born a minute earlier, and she's so stuck up about it. Isn't that funny? You spooked me. Do you know how long it's been since someone who's not a Ganelle visited me here? Well, it feels like it has been 321,321,145,551 years. I see. Well, you know what? Even if you guys drive out the Ahibs and claim back Kamasylvia, we won't be on your side. We will not take anyone's side until Kamasyl's light is restored, that is. Interesting.
My hobby is gathering
So they'll side with whoever... I mean, this is what I'm getting from that. They'll side with whoever restores Kamasyl's light. Polly's forest without Polly. Well, I can't be blaming you for trying to convince me to pick a side. You are here to do a job and do Calphion's biddings, and it seems like that means you also have to do the Queen's biddings as well. I'll try not to give you the cold shoulder. Okay, enough dilly-dallying. Let me sing you a song. On scorched Kamasyl flower Polly's mushrooms grow. Polly sings and dances on mother's fingers slow. Oh, you've already heard this tribute song that Weenie and I composed for Polly. Polly is the spirit this forest was named after a long time ago. It was forbidden for some time, but I heard that Brolina is trying to bring back the song. The jester comes a bit too late. Polly is long dead now, but I am still thankful. Polly's forest without Polly may look colourful, but there is no fragrance. Which reminds me, I saw some yellow flowers in bloom earlier. Could you go get some of them and offer them as fertilizer to Chloris Mushroom? Polly used to love him so much. Okay, please leave me alone. Listen. Please leave me alone. I will kill you momentarily. You don't need to die right now. Chloris. It looks so bizarre and intriguing. It's the foul-smelling Chloris mushroom, who is supposedly late Polly's favorite mushroom. He is excreting a sticky liquid over its cap. You decide to leave the yellow flowers you gathered next to him. The strong poison from Chloris mushroom instantly melts the yellow flower. Ugh, he stinks. And what's on his cap? It looks like mucus. Earlier, when we were in the library, I read that Chloris mushroom can find ways to share his emotions with people who interact with it. Is he expressing sadness? Is he crying? That's so funny. I wonder if he's sad because of what happened during the War of the Sisters. Don't you think so too? No wonder Looney does not want to side with the Ganelles.
Doesn't it
Did you give Chloris Mushroom yellow flowers? Well, I'll take your word for it. Yellow flower is Chloris Mushroom's favorite food. It was also Polly's favorite flower. No, my answer still hasn't changed. I'm not going to help you guys, even if Calpheon helps the Ganelles.
No flavor is better than that of mushroom.
Huh? Why won't I help? Just thinking about the reason makes me so sad. I think it was less than a fortnight after driving out the dark spirits. The whole forest was burned so much that there wasn't much to eat. Only the tenacious Polly's mushrooms were left for food. Oriana Ornette and Josia Odore, who were the chiefs of Ganelles and Vidiers at the time, to help feed everyone, they gave up their rations and asked Polly to cook mushrooms. Of course, Polly made sure to take all the poison out from the mushrooms before cooking up a feast, but when night came, something terrible happened.
My hobby is gathering mushrooms, and my specialty is mushroom alchemy.
Run away? Gosh, we don't need anything that's still alive, no matter how desperate the situation is. We're not that cruel, you know. Both chiefs of Ganelles and Vidiers who ate Polly's dish went to the mother's arms at the same time. To make matters worse, they died at the most sensitive of times, with all the hubbub around the burning of Kamasylvia. What happened next, you say? Of course, Polly was accused as the murderer of the two chiefs. Polly was innocent. He made sure to remove the poison from the mushrooms. Weenie and I, we all saw him do it. But Princess Amelia was so sure Polly did it, and she was soon to be queen. So who could possibly protest and say to her, it wasn't Polly, or Polly wouldn't do such a thing, or even, let's investigate further. Therefore, Polly was taken away by Princess Amelia, and we never saw him again. It's unfair. It was not Polly. Huh? Do I know who the real culprit is? Of course I don't. I heard that they are reopening the case, though, so maybe we will find out. There were just so many suspicious things about the incident, but it didn't seem to matter for the Ganelles and the Vidiers. At that time, they were nothing but warmongers trying to find a reason to fight each other.
Doesn't it seem like you have seen me before?
Since Berlina drove Amelia out and became the queen, we can finally speak more freely. But for some time, to speak out meant that we might become as silent as the dead. So what could weaklings like us do? We had no choice but to mind our places. So it's not just me. None of us spirits wants anything to do with Sylvia's daughters in the squabble. We have absolutely no interest in who wins. The spirits of the northern forest here all feel the same way, especially since Polly wasn't their only casualty. Krogdalo, the spirit of the forest, with the forces of wind, earth, and fire, has not been seen in these lands for a long time. Yet, there's an idiot who stares at Krogdalo's last hoofprints all day and night. What's his name? Borgo?
No flavor is better than that of mushroom.
I'm busy doing research, adventurer.
I'm quite busy with my research, adventurer. I even had to skip meals yesterday. Oh well, that just made me hungry. I shouldn't even spend my energy in talking. It's been a long time since I've seen an outsider here. And lo and behold, you're the delegate from Calpheon everyone's talking about. The whole of Kamasylvia is excited about the news that we're about to join hands with Calpheon again. But did you come to find me here on your own volition? What? Looney sent you to me? And he called me an idiot? Why, that little moldy rapscallion! Well, in any case, it's good that you're here. Come closer. Let me tell you something. As you can see, I'm a demi-beast, and also an outsider. I was born at the foot of the mountain of eternal winter. Therefore, I want to tell you something. Please, don't be offended. If Calpheon gets involved here, it will get caught in the crossfire in a dispute I don't think you fully understand yet.
Krogdalo the Dream Horse is a magnificent being.
Why am I trying to stop you? Because I don't think there's much hope. Don't be fooled by the slick Ganelles and look at this place. Look at what happened here. Krogdalo, the owner of this place, is gone because of their futile war. But do the Ganelles care that he's left this forest? Ha! They are begging spirits from all over Kamasylvia, saying how they need the spirits' power to defeat the Ahibs, when it is them who have turned their backs on the spirits, and they still expect the spirits to help fight for them? I'd be more than thankful if they just don't ruin things any further. In fact, the forest has been singing about the dark shadow here all along, but unfortunately the desperate song of the forest was not heard as the Ganelles were so deafened by their hatred for their sisters.
Being able to research is a fabulous thing. greater discoveries will be made.
Krogdalo had 3 children, Wind, Earth, and Fire. Among them, Fire, Doom in their language, was such a poor soul. He couldn't be with anyone because of the inferno blazing from his body. The slightest movement would burn something down. His sweet, tender heart couldn't stand it. He was always alone in the ashes, all by himself. Then one day, an inflammable serpent came to him and shook his loneliness. They say the serpent gave off a bad stench, just like the dark spirits. Its presence made the bugs shiver, the musical spirit to faint, and the forest cried out loud. Shadows of darkness had set foot in the forest again, but the daughters of the goddess, the Ganelles and Vidirs, shut their ears and did not listen. Eventually, Doom followed the serpent out of the forest, and soon Earth and Wind left as well. In the end, Krogdalo also left the forest. And now, the last trace is all that's left. What's that look? This is not some folklore. I'm telling you, if you go close to the trace, you can hear the forest song. Oh, of course you can't hear it now. It's not been heard in some time. It can, however, be heard again with the help from the weenie spirit. Still have your doubts? Then go and check it out for yourself.
What is he doing?
Oh, hey. You can feel the dim energy. It feels somewhat warm. You see the supposedly last traces left behind by the spirit called Krogdalo. The faint light it's emitting somehow feels gloomy. Is this really the trace of that guy? The father of wind, earth, and fire? Krogdalo of the forest? I thought it was all a bunch of nonsense. I wonder if the Yahibs who burn this forest are decimated and peace returns to the forest. Krogdalo will return. This is such a fun place, just as I hoped. It's always fun to watch people destroying each other. That demi-beast guy said we should meet Weenie the Spirit, right? Let's go! I want to hear the last verse of the song that was cut off. It's a lot like Looney. Oh, that's right. You know what? Looney and I are twins. I was born a minute earlier than him. The smell is... You must have met Borgo. Isn't he a nice fellow full of personality and passion? I hope he finishes his research on Krogdalo quickly so he can start investigating Polly's unjust death. But who are you? Are you the delegate from Calphion Looney's talking about? You are? How do you find Polly's forest so far, Oh, you have a favor to ask? You want to hear the forest song? Wow, it's been a really long time since anyone had interest in it.
Doesn't it seem like you've seen me before?
I don't know if we can recover the last verse of Forest Song from Krogdalo's trace, even with the help of some lonely shroom sap. It's been so long. Well, we've got to try at least. In fact, I'm really glad that you're interested in our forests. I will need your help to make the lonely shroom sap. We'll need heaps of Polly's mushrooms to make it. Can you get the ingredients from the mushrooms for me?
Did you know that I was born
She really is constantly bragging about that, isn't she? Come on. There we go. I, Amelia Ornette, the descendant of the radiant sun and benevolent mother, the second protector of the sacred tree, the master of the glorious Enels, and the most rightful successor of the divine throne of the Queen of Kamasylvia, stand here in the midst of the forest to declare, I shall have the wicked Vidirs, who dared to burn our mother's legacy and bruise the forest, pay for the sins they committed, no matter the cost. The Archers, defenders of Grana, the temple of the sacred tree, the Rangers, guards of our forest, the Annals, my elite guard. And lastly, Krogdalo, the spirit of the forest, are the witnesses of this divine and steadfast vow. What the Krogdalo's trace was bearing was not the last forgotten verse of the forest songs, but more a vow. How's that working out? Can you please not get in my way? Not even trying to kill you. If I was trying to kill you, you'd know, because you'd be lying on the floor saying, "Oh, I'm dying, oh no, Lady Segakaku was trying to kill me, and succeeded." Amelia made a totally false vow to Krogdallo. Krogdallo must have been gravely disappointed. I can't believe Amelia betrayed her sisters like that. To think that nothing is more important than Kamasylvia's light. Ever since that vow, we could never see Krogdallo again. It was that same night certain Vadirs, infuriated at Amelia's vows, started to burn the forest while calling themselves the Ahibs. Polly's forest, with Polly no longer around, would have been burned to ashes too, but thanks to the chief of the Tooth Fairies, Rimitaronsum, our forest survived. I know I usually try to put up a smile, but guess what? When it comes to this, we spirits are not going to take anyone's side, even if it means everybody's demise. I'm going to rest now. It's been a while since I cooked like this. I'm getting sleepy.
Mushrooms are the cooking sauce for life. You got good swirl
Wow. Wow. Tooth Fairies protected Polly's forest during that mess? Tooth Fairies? Now that's an odd name. I wonder how strong they are, and if they are as small as my teeth. Let's go meet them. Okay, so we will... Yeah. We will go meet them next episode. So, my guess is that those tooth fairies are called tooth fairies because they have big, sharp teeth. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, that's going to be it for this episode. We're going to go ahead and meet the tooth fairies next episode. But, yeah, I just wanted to remind you that if you are watching this on the main channel within 2 hours of it going live, then that means that I will be streaming on the streaming channel right now. And I would appreciate it if you would come over and say hello. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.